Hello, everybody. It is Friday, and that means only one thing. That means me and Taylor, Vince and Taylor, live on YouTube, coming at you on this, the 3rd of March, 2023. Taylor, how are you doing today?
We are good. How's it going?
It is going good. Now, who was that little fella that you brought up into the screen?
That is Sally Sausage. She is one of my wiener dogs.
How many wiener dogs do you have?
I have two. I have
Oh,
Slinky the Weenie and Sally Sausage.
are they related?
No.
No? Wow, that is something.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
welcome,
they're
little
real big.
Weenie and Sally and the whole clan. Welcome. Guys, this is the show where Taylor and myself, we talk the latest in pop culture, everything going on in the world. And we tell you guys, if you are enjoying this show and enjoying our company, please feel free to send your donations, send your super stickers. They really help me out. They help my brand. They help Taylor's brand. They help support the freedom of our speech, and hopefully we will entertain you in the next hour or so. I know we have a full lineup today, and Taylor, I have a very special surprise for you at the end of this show.
Oh, okay. Hopefully
That's
it's a good one.
the tease. That's the tease. That's the tease. So you guys are going to have to wait till the end of this show to get the tease. All right, Taylor, as I always do, we have a number of hot topics that you wanted to get into. Ladies first, what would you like to
Okay.
talk about first?
Okay, I know last week you and I had discussed some Lord of the Rings stuff being dropped on us, like Amazon Rings of Power Season 2, which and Warner Brothers and I believe New Line Cinema are going to be doing some brand new Lord of the Rings films. So I'm super excited about that. And so I figured today we would start off with some more Lord of the Rings news just to kind of get it out of the way. I like to keep you on your toes, a little segue here. So, guys, in case you did not know, Vince, I don't know if you heard about this, but Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which is the third installment in the Lord of the Rings franchise from director Peter Jackson, it's actually going to be celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. Oh my gosh, I feel old.
Wow.
It came out December 17th of, I believe, 2003. And so what they're actually going to do, similar to Titanic, which was in theaters recently for its anniversary release, they're bringing Return of the King back to the theaters for the extended edition cut. So not the regular DVD one, but the extended edition. It's like 4-ish hours long. It's awesome.
Oh, kill me now,
Oh,
man.
it's
Kill me
amazing.
now.
Immerse
Oh,
me in Middle Earth, please take me away from
oh.
the Matrix. So yeah, you're going to get that. They're actually going to bring that to theaters. Cinemark and Regal theaters have already been promoting it. They're bringing it on April 13th to select theaters. So if anybody wants to see that, they're already selling tickets. I am super excited. I'm so excited for this. Now they're doing it early, as compared to the actual anniversary because they didn't want to compete with the holiday, but
I gotta be honest. Listen, man. Number one, I've never seen the movie. Number two, I have no interest in seeing the movie. Number
oh, you're
three,
killing
I
me.
definitely would never ever see the 4 hour version. But I gotta say this: if they're re-releasing this movie now, watching that on IMAX, that might be a pretty cool experience.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me, but then you bring me back in. Yes, IMAX would be amazing. I mean, I
Yes.
think movie theaters are kind of dangerous right now, but I would almost want to risk it to go see this movie. Like, oh, I grew up in such a Lord of the Rings household. That is my jam. I'm in my element.
Now,
So
Taylor,
speaking of theaters.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, well, so let's go to this. Let's go to this one because I gotta tell you, man, I've never, ever. There are certain superheroes that I've always felt growing up had no right being superheroes. There are a lot of lame superheroes out there.
That's true.
Some of my lame superheroes would be like I think Captain Marvel was a lame superhero. Oh my God, Submariner was a very, very lame superhero.
Wasn't
The
that like
Green,
DC Comics' version of Aquaman, kind of?
yeah. Who else? Just a lot. Green Lantern. I never got Green Lantern. And another one who I think is very lame, and it's on your list, Shazam 2. First of all, I don't even know what Shazam does, Taylor. So you're gonna have
Shazam!
what are his powers though? What are the powers of the great Shazam?
Come on! Are you really going to give flack to Billy Batson? Come on! Good old Billy!
What is the power of Shazam that I'm missing?
I mean, he has different gods' powers. You know what I mean? So he gets wisdom, and he gets strength, and he gets like cunning, and like all of these other powers from different gods. And so that's one of the reasons why he's one of actually the main heroes against a character like Black Adam, for example. I think he's really cool. I really loved his portrayal in Young Justice when they start to question whether or not Shazam should legally be allowed in the Justice League because technically he's, you know, a little kid, but you know, he turns into this wise, strength, fast, you know, adult when he becomes, you know. I don't know. I'm not with you on this one. I like Shazam, but I will have to say that Zachary Levi needs to stay in his lane and stop saying such outrageous stuff on social media. Like, you are not the Deadpool of DC Comics. Like, stop. Just stop it.
All right, Taylor, I'm gonna have to back you on it in a corner.
All right, here we go. I'm ready.
Now this is almost like, what is it? Married, kill, but I would never do that with your lady. However, we've got to lose 3 superheroes. We got to get rid of them. Whenever it could be DC, it could be Marvel. The 3 superheroes aren't carrying their weight. Who does Taeler Hendrix cut?
I would definitely get rid of Submariner for sure. Let me see. But then again, you don't really have that character in modern cinema, so I guess it's okay. I don't know. Yeah. All right, Submariner. Wow, this is hard. This is hard.
Come on. What does Green Lantern do? I could be Green Lantern.
See, I like the Green Lantern stuff because there's so much stuff they could do with it. Now, I mean, even Ryan Reynolds will admit the film was bad. I think they're going to redo it. At this point, I've given up on the Fantastic Four being like an actual good, true to the characters films. Like, I know they're trying to redo it, but like, you guys have struck out several times. At this point, I'm tapped out. Sorry, Mr. Fantastic. Like, sorry, like, I don't know. I just whatever. And let me see.
Well, somebody just brought this up in the chat room. Speaking of a Fantastic Four, what about Silver Surfer? Like, who did he ever beat?
I like the Silver Surfer. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I don't really need to see that in a film. I would rather see Lobo in a film. I mean, he's not a superhero, but still, I'd rather see Lobo because to me that would be awesome. You know, this freaking intergalactic bounty hunter sort of character. I would love to see that as opposed to the Silver Surfer or the Fantastic Four or even a new rendition of Green Lantern. To be honest, the Green Hornet was kind of yeah, so I guess I would say that. But I really
now did you ever see though? Hold on for a second, because see, we disagree on that. Did you ever see the Green Hornet television show from the mid-60s?
No, that I honestly will say I have not seen.
Great show, man. Bruce Lee. That was a great show, Green Hornet, man. Yeah.
See, that actually sounds good, but the movie, like, it was okay, but is it something that I would want to see again? I was like, not really. Yeah, I would rather see Young Justice be made into a live action television series because I'm obsessed with like Young Justice. I mean, you got Ms. Marvel, Blue Beetle, which obviously is going to be a movie, but I really loved how they did that. You've got, you know, you got like just a really awesome Lex Luthor. You've you've got, you know, the Shadow League, and I don't know, there's all kinds of really cool stuff. I think that there's so much that they could do. I would love to play Ms. Martian. I think that would be so much fun. But yeah, guys, Shazam 2 is in the theaters in a very short amount of time, March 17th. So mark that on your calendars if you want to see it. They are definitely trying to pull for a Shazam 3 to become a part of the new DC 5-phase plan. We'll see if that actually happens. But Zachary Levi, no, you are not the Deadpool of DC Comics. Just stop it. Just stop it right now.
Now, are you a fan? Are you a fan of Deadpool?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
Deadpool.
actually
like
played the
that.
game.
I like Deadpool.
Yeah, I love the humor. Like, I can't not think of Ryan Reynolds. Like, when it comes to Deadpool, I think he has just personified that role to a T. I love all the stuff that they have done with a crossover between Deadpool and Wolverine, because that is in the comics. You also had a little bit of that in the game. I think it's really, really cool. I love it. I like the fact that they're going to make this next Deadpool film rated R. I think that is a great position for them to be in. I really, really enjoy it. I think they do great at storytelling. They also make fun of themselves, which I like. It's almost like breaking through the third barrier, so to speak, almost like in a Ferris Bueller's Day Off sort of thing. I really like that. I think it's really cool to have like a rated R version of Marvel, and then you have sort of like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where it's more of like a family film. So you kind of get you get both, which I think is more bang for your buck if you're paying for things like Disney Plus and so forth. So you have family content and stuff to make the adults feel like they're not going crazy.
So. What is the one? Give me one. What is the one superhero movie set to come out that you are the most excited about?
See, I felt like Dark Phoenix was just such a bust. And that was really, really sad for me because I love Jean Grey. I love that character. That was kind of, I took some shades of that for my actual Taeler Hendrix gimmick and my gear and stuff. So I really love to see that redone better. And I do have to say that I always wanted to play the Scarlet Witch. And so when I found out Elizabeth Olsen was cast, I was really, really excited for that. I think she's done a really great job. So as far as a new one coming out, I would say Deadpool. I'm really, really wanting to see Deadpool 3. I really, really am. I would say that one for sure.
Tell, I got to ask you this. Were you a fan of the Twilight films?
Not really. My sister was, though. My sister was that age group that was obsessed with it. I actually took her to one of the premieres at our local theater. But that was definitely her generation for sure. There was a lot of very thirsty women in that theater. It was nuts, y'all. It was crazy. I did read the books though. I did give up on the last one. I saw the word beautiful too many times. I was like, I need to send a thesaurus. Like, I am tired of it. Like, mix up the words a little bit, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I actually thought the last one was pretty good. They had that massive fight, which was it was shot really well. I thought that was really good. What was it? Was it too much romance in that for you for a movie? Like, what is it that you didn't like about it?
No, I'm just a person that does not like to be into something when it's getting like shoved down your throat everywhere. I'm that kind of hipster.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't watch Family Guy, for example, until like my senior year in high school. Like, I had not watched an episode until I was like a junior or senior in high school. So for me, Twilight, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought it was a really cool concept. You know, I grew up with Anne Rice and Stephen King novels, so I love like vampire culture, Salem's Lot, all of that. Interview with the Vampire, the Vampire Lestat, all of that. So I was really excited for Twilight. I didn't mind it, but I think reading the books, I got a little agitated because it was very repetitive. That's all. Because I really enjoy a good book. I love to read. I'm very slow. I'm dyslexic, but I love to read. And so I want to go on that journey, and then I want to see the movies. But I ended up seeing some of the movies before I actually read the books.
How about this, Adam, for a $4.99 super sticker? Let's give Adam
Hi,
Adam. Applause. Adam says he is looking forward to The Flash because Michael Keaton is back playing Batman in it. soon to be
Yes.
released. How do you feel about that?
Adam, that is a very good point. I love Michael Keaton. Beetlejuice is in my DNA. I swear to goodness. Kudos about the Michael Keaton reference. The Flash, though, I have issues. I have issues with that movie, Adam, because if you want to have a clean slate for DC Comics, right, and you want to have a majority of your funding go towards big theatrical releases and a couple streaming shows, why would you keep such a controversial actor in the role for the Flash? I mean, it's staggering the amount of charges, and one of them he's already pled guilty to. So I have mixed feelings about that, and it's kind of the same thing about Aquaman 2. Why would you keep, I digress. I what's good for the goose, good for the gander, I guess. I have mixed feelings about Flash for sure. Mixed feelings. Yeah.
I got to ask you this. Moving on to the next topic. Thank you very much, Adam. And, guys, if you want your questions up here and you want us to have a discussion over your question, guys, do exactly what Adam did. Super sticker donation supports us, supports our brands. I'm looking at your list. I had no idea, Taylor, what deceased U.S. presidents in space meant.
Yes. Okay.
So
I was going to have a different segue,
yeah.
but we'll go into this one instead because this was
I'm
so
sorry.
odd.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun here, but when I saw that, I'm like, what the heck? This I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so really, really quick, guys, if you guys want to still see Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it's still in theaters. It is on the decline as far as profits are concerned. It had a $200 million budget. It's so far made $365 million, and trailing closely behind is a movie we talked about last week, Cocaine Bear, which has made roughly almost its whole budget back, so that's really, really cool. Shazam 2 had a smaller budget than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there. And for what Vince mentioned, okay, guys, this was so crazy. This seems like something straight out of some sort of like dystopian universe, I would say. So this is legit happening. This almost sounds like the makings of some sort of sci-fi when aliens attack with the faces of US presidents. It's like, this is how obscure it has been.
Now,
so
this
apparently,
is legit, though. This is legit.
Yeah,
this is legit.
This
Okay,
is legit.
Let me hear this. Okay.
And this has scientific backing, which I have a lot of questions. Like, number one, who signed off on this? Number two, do the families know? Number three, how many people of the general public actually know about this? And number four, have we already done this or no? So, okay, here we go. The body or DNA samples and remains, I should say, of George Washington, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Ronald Reagan. U.S. presidents' remains are going to fly aboard the Celestis Enterprise flight and be launched into deep space. This is based off of the scientific findings from the book, The High Frontier, Human Colonies in Space, which was published and written in 1976 by a Dr. Gerald K. O'Neill. And basically, this has to do with the science of evolution and the DNA sequences, like the double helix and stuff that were first originally found in the 1950s and then improved upon with the sequences in the 1970s. And obviously with the space race, the Kennedy Space Center, this has always been at the forefront of a lot of different science in America from the times when we were, going against Russia with our space systems and Germany and so forth. So the space race has always been a huge deal for a lot of presidents. And what they want is to put evidence out there about our DNA and how we have evolved since we actually first appeared on Earth X amount of millions of years ago. And what they want to do is leave evidence of life on Earth in space, be that for alien civilizations to come across or perhaps even human colonies later in space, so they can see the DNA and how people flourished from George Washington all the way through through Reagan in the 80s and on to today. And they want to come up with more science behind our DNA. I don't. What are your thoughts on this? Like, I wish I was a fly on the wall in the room of who decided money was going to go into this when we're already bleeding taxpayer dollars. Like, this doesn't sound cheap.
That sounds like something that was in The Onion or something. I can't believe a second of that. It's
crazy.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that is absolutely. I can't believe that for a second.
Yeah, but apparently this is actually happening and it's going to happen this year. And basically it's, you know, how humans need to go to space and start colonies in space for the preservation of the human race. And scientists predicted this apparently a very long time ago. And there was actually a book written about it. And they want to put, you know, scientific investigations into the history of our DNA and the sequences in the, you know, DNA ladders and stuff. And I don't know, to me, I'm like, with everything going on.
Is this out there? Like, is this story out there? Because I've not heard anything about this. Where did you get this from?
There was 2 or 3 different places I was looking. I think I did IGN, I did Valuetainment, I did Forbes, Fortune, and I did some research on Google as well. And only a couple people were actually talking about this in detail. So I think it's just so under the people's radar because like we've talked about in pop culture, negative news seems to spread faster and gossip seems to spread faster.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taylor froze up on us for a second. Hopefully she will come back. But yeah, I had not heard anything about deceased U.S. presidents in space. And maybe that's why a lot of people aren't talking about it, bro, because they don't believe it. You know, a lot of people, man, when there's news like this out there that is just so far out there. All right, Taylor, are you back?
Yes, so sorry about that, guys. I'm not really sure what happened there. Yeah, so I don't know. This to me seems like an intelligent topic. And so with the way TikTok and everything else is going in our society, I just think this isn't a priority for people. They would rather hear the latest celebrity gossip or whatever. And so I think this is why that not a lot of people are talking about this, which I think shows the state of our society that we're currently in, to be honest.
I would also think that's what I was saying when you were gone. I would also say, Taylor, a lot of people may not be talking about this because it is so far-fetched that it sounds unbelievable. And you know how the wrestling business is. Nobody wants to get worked. So nobody is going to talk about something that may, you know, come out to just be a hoax and was never true because people don't like to be made stupid. Because if I had read about this, I would have said, absolutely no way. You know, you're not going to work me. I'm not going to talk about this. And look, I mean, I think there might be some of that.
You know what, though? I think the people that are the most afraid of looking stupid are probably stupid. Because if you have any sort of brain on your shoulders, you're going to have critical thinking and deductive reasoning. And that's why you're smart. That's why you're an individual instead of subscribing to group identity and mob theory. You know what I'm saying? So I think the people that are always the ones with the chip on their shoulder, like, oh, you can't work me. But everybody's working everybody, you know? So it's kind of just one of those things where you have to sift through the junk.
Life is a work. Life is a work.
It really is.
What do you want to hit next now?
Let's see here. I came across something that I did not know about. I was not alive when this happened, so I wanted to throw this your way and to the listeners because I actually have a good segue for it. So, did you guys know that apparently for the Super Bowl in 1985 that highlighted the Washington Redskins, who are no longer the Washington Redskins. Apparently, for that Super Bowl game in 1985, police sent out for over 3,000 criminals. This is crazy. All right, there were more than 3,000 wanted criminals by the FBI at that time, and so they sent out a bunch of advertisements to the last known addresses of these wanted criminals. Advertising free Super Bowl tickets And so who can resist that, right? And it was crazy. So apparently, when they arrived, they had to show proof of identity and sign in. And they had mascots. Like one was like a big duck and all these different mascots that were really actual like agents who had like concealed like guns and stuff. And they were able to arrest some wanted criminals. Like how crazy is that?
They do that. They do that all the time. You know, that's how they catch criminals. Either like, oh, you won lottery, or you've been left X amount of dollars. They do that all the time to entrap criminal, and I think that's a great way to do it, man. When it's something that you can, we lost.
Crazy. I don't know why I'm having internet issues. I am sorry, everybody. This is not normal.
Are the dogs chewing on any wires or anything, Taylor?
No, they are not. They are sound asleep. So
yeah, Taylor, this is a good way. I mean, this is a good way to catch criminals, because if there's a pot of gold, they're not thinking, you know, they're thinking, holy crap, Super Bowl, or I won lottery, or you know, a relative I didn't know left me money. I mean, I think that's a great way. And you mentioned 1985. They've been doing that like forever. Now, why? How did you stumble across that? How did that come up?
I came at it was a video that literally had some of the news people talking about it in 1985. I like to follow a lot of historical and different things because I like to host Fun Fact Friday on my YouTube channel, and I'll usually do a fun fact on my podcast every Tuesday. So I'm always looking at different things like that and how we can relate historical things up to today and how they're still relevant today and how there's some sort of meaning behind those who do not learn the history are doomed to repeat it, sort of thing. And so that's how I came across it. And I was like, oh my gosh, these FBI agents are gangster. Like, that is so good. That is so good. And so the segue that I came into is the recent news about supposedly WWE superstar Sonya Deville. Not only did she recently get engaged, but she also apparently was arrested on firearms charges. Now, I don't like to necessarily be a part of negative news, but I felt like there was a really good life lesson for wrestlers as well as fans in this story. So it would be interesting for us to kind of unpack today.
Yeah, hey, let's kick off, because I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I knew about that. I read about that, but I want to hear your spin on this.
All right, so TMZ, which I don't normally like to do TMZ or BuzzFeed because they anyway, TMZ reported that the incident happened on February 19th of this year. So Sonya Deville, who obviously lives in Florida, I believe, and has a license for the firearm in the state of Florida, was recently in New Jersey, and police found the firearm without proper permit in New Jersey. Now, there was nothing that said it was a proper search and seizure or if she was pulled over or whatever. So I want to know, how did the cops come across this gun? Was it like, did they have, probable cause to be in her belongings and stuff like that? Like, what was going on? Now, the reason why I think this is relevant is because back in, I think, around 2020-ish, she had to take a hiatus from the WWE because she had a severe stalker situation that resulted in a home invasion. And that was the reasoning behind her getting a permit for to carry a firearm for protection, to defend herself. Now, if you don't know how to use the gun, it's probably more of a liability. But if you do, like myself, I know how to use guns. So I'm very confident around firearms. And so to me, this is, that would be a good choice, especially because a home invasion, that's not a joke. That's not a, you're funny. Like, no, that's real danger. That's a real situation. And when you're a public figure, and when you're a superstar or a high profile athlete, whatever your case may be, you end up with stalkers. That's something that a lot of people do not talk about when you discuss, being in the public eye, and there's certain sacrifices that you unknowingly and knowingly have to make, as well as the people around you. Like when you sign up to be a professional wrestler and you have any sort of aspirations of success in this kind of business, you have to make a lot of sacrifices for your life, and you're also making your loved ones sign on for those sacrifices as well. You're not always home. You're now in the public eye, which comes with wanted and unwanted attention, be it through validation or stalkers and home invasions. You're on the road all the time. You're missing things. You're breaking down your body. Your paycheck doesn't go as far as people actually think you do. You have to keep up with the Joneses, a certain lifestyle. You're on the road to people that say you're family, but really they would slit your throat in a second to get the opportunities that you have. Plus, there's no job security. So once you stop getting used on TV, you're wondering, oh, is this it for me? Or you're one match away from an injury. There's so much that goes on with this. And a lot of people ask me for things that I do on my YouTube channel, like Q&A Wednesdays, Vince. And they ask me, what advice do you have for wrestlers? And this comes up a lot. And so I thought this particular story about Sonya Deville was a good learning opportunity here, because one of the things that I would say, if you're someone who travels, or if you're a professional wrestler or an actor that's going to different places, this all applies to you, whether you're a wrestling fan or a wrestler or not, okay, is know about where you are going. Just because you have a concealed carry or a firearm, registered firearm in one state does not mean that transfers over to another state. These are the things that you have to understand and know. Just like certain states have different laws when it comes to things like driving. For example, on the East Coast, especially in New Hampshire, you have Jessica's Law, for example, just one of many examples actually, where it's illegal for you to drive with snow on top of your vehicle. Like, you have to get rid of that because a girl died because of that.
Oh, wow.
So that's Jessica's Law. In the deep Midwest, I think Minnesota or Mississippi, something like that, some part of that area, it's illegal for you to drink or eat anything while you're driving. Like, if you get pulled over, you're in trouble for eating or drinking anything. In Ohio, if you get pulled over and do not have the fine amount on hand, you can go to jail and have to borrow money from a loan shark. So there's all kinds of different things that you actually have to be aware of when you are doing stuff like this. And I think this is a perfect example with Sonya Deville. Like, she technically was just wanting to have some security to defend herself, because I've had to deal with stalkers. Like, it's not an easy, it's not a fun situation. There's not a one size fits all, and it's a dangerous thing. And so I think this is a really good lesson to understand. Like, you have to know where you're going. Like, if you travel to Thailand, for example, there's rules in Singapore and all these other places. Like, in one place, if you spit on the sidewalk, you can go to prison.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of, you need to be aware of where you're going, the rules there, and the repercussions of your actions. And for Sonya, she is in the process right now of getting these charges thrown out. So I'm sure that we can provide updates as that stuff happens. But yeah, I mean, who would have thought, she just had a firearm in her vehicle. She probably didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? Because at some point that just becomes a part of your routine as far as safety. And now she has criminal charges that she's potentially trying to get thrown out because of the firearm, because she had a stalker in a home invasion and she wanted to protect herself. I think we're protecting the wrong people in this country right now.
Well, crazy. I think a couple of things. First of all, I know all about stalkers and having a stalker, because I had a stalker once, Taylor, by the name of Jeff Lane, and it got very, very, very serious. But I will tell you this. Listen, Taylor, let's be honest. You and I we're honest people. There's a lot of stupid wrestlers out there. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, for as long as I've been in the business, I've said, why did you do that? Like, what do you think? Yeah. Sonya Deville, first of all, comes across as a very intelligent woman to me.
Yes,
she comes across as very smart. She's not your typical wrestler. You could tell. Number two, like you said, with that home invasion situation, obviously from that moment going on, she's going to be licensed to carry, no doubt about it. Which means she obviously went for training, learned how to use the weapon. These are just the vibes I get about her. I think she's very, very. I think I interviewed her once. I think she was on my show once. But she knows what she's doing. So I would even think, Taylor, as you said, going from one state to another, like I would even believe she knew all that. But how many times, like I think, like you said, what it comes down to is you're in such a routine that you're not even thinking about that. Then all of a sudden you get pulled over for something and holy shit, I've got a gun with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was a matter of that, but I also believe that once they look at her situation of what happened with the home invasion, and this was a licensed weapon, and we are not dealing, we're dealing with an intelligent person here, hopefully she'll be able to get everything taken off that record.
I hope so, because I mean, it's really unfortunate when things like this do happen for anyone, but also especially from me personally as a woman, is because your home is your safe space, right?
Yeah.
That's where you get to truly be yourself and unwind and let go of the existential circumstances of the world and of your life outside of the walls of your home. When you have a home invasion, all of that is gone. Your safety, your sense of security, your inner peace, your safe space is gone. It's been tainted, it's been invaded. It never feels quite the same, because in the back of your mind, there's always that lingering fear there, because somebody took something from you, basically. And so, yeah, I do think that this is a very tough situation. And I think that maybe there needs to be different sort of rules about this, because I mean, some states don't even allow you to bring pepper spray. You can't have a pocket knife that's over a certain amount of inches, in certain states, but other states you can. It's like, how are you supposed to defend yourself? Which also brings me to another point. These things are harder to fight when you have the label public figure on your profiles for social media, or you use the hashtag and all that other stuff. That's why I don't recommend people doing that, especially if you have the blue check mark and you didn't pay for it. Because obviously if you go on Twitter and click the check mark, it'll say if you're a legacy account or if you bought the subscription or whatever. If you didn't buy that subscription and you're a legacy account and then you have in your thing public figure, then anybody can say and do anything to you, basically. It's like a free license to slander and all this other stuff that drastically affects your life, and the person doing that to you has virtually no consequences to their actions. So I really do think that in our legal system is protecting the wrong people here, because if you want to clear your name, it's never going to be 100% cleared anyway, because people can still, even if it gets taken down, there's still hyperlinks from Google, and you spend hundreds of millions of dollars that you don't even have just to fight these things in court. And for what? Okay, your name is cleared even though it's not really. So I almost feel like it's legal extortion. So there's definitely a lot of things that need to change in regards to stuff like this, but nobody is teaching this to wrestlers at all. It's mind-blowing how much they pay to go to wrestling schools and all this other stuff, but then so much of the business aspect of being in an entertainment business is just not taught.
Yeah. Part of Jeff's Twitter description on social media, part of his description was, I'm a Vince Russo stalker.
Oh my God, you two are.
He just put that right out there. Speaking of a lot of things that wrestlers aren't being taught.
Yes.
Is that the segue?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw ridiculous thing after ridiculous thing after ridiculous thing this week. Here's the bottom line, bro. Guys, I have said this for years. I'm going to tell you what's really sad. Here's the first sad thing, Taylor. Somebody's going to die. Without a shadow of a doubt, bro. You may see it on live TV. You may see it at an indie show. Somebody is going to die. But here's the really sad thing. Even when somebody dies by doing something crazy within the confinements of a wrestling ring, nothing will change. No. Somebody dying is not going to change where this business is heading. And the things I saw this past week alone, I don't know what is wrong with people, Taylor. Maybe you could shed some light on this. You're a worker. I am not. I cannot tell you what is going through a referee's mind when he's setting somebody on fire. I cannot tell you what a woman's thinking when she's throwing another woman off a balcony first face into. I can't tell you what's going in their mind. So take it away, man. Please enlighten me on this phenomenon.
It makes me so sad because wrestlers, they think that when they get mainstream media coverage for doing this kind of stuff, that it's an awesome thing. They're like, oh, look what I did. I'm on Tosh.0 or whatever. And they don't understand they're not putting you over. They're making fun of you and they're making fun of our business. Like, you made our business look like a joke. That is so like agitating to me because they don't understand the difference. And it makes it so much harder when stuff like that goes mainstream, because I've been on the business end of the business, basically, for lack of better phrasing. And when you talk to certain companies that are major television conglomerates, so many channels and so many people want nothing to do with professional wrestling. And that's why you have lucha libre and sports entertainment. So many different television stations and CEOs and CMOs, they have such a bad taste in their mouth from wrestling that almost no one wants to do business unless you have that WWE label, pretty much, or you have ties to the NFL, which is like the #1 program for basic television. It is insane how many mistakes this business has made when it comes to television on the business aspect. And this is something that because you did that sort of work on multiple companies. It is very, very difficult to get a lucrative television deal, to get actual good times, to get good marketing, good funding. It is so difficult because so many people have been so royally burned, figuratively speaking, on the business side. And then you have people that are so dense that are literally burning themselves literally inside the ring. And for what? You get that huge pop for that night, the next night, when it streams on iPay-per-view or whatever. But who's going to be talking about that 5 years from now? I'll wait. Nobody. Who still talks about the main event of WrestleMania 1? How many people? I'll wait. But that was legendary at that time. And a lot of these people doing this stuff, I don't condone it at all, Vince. But here's the thing. They're not even making that WWE money. They're not making that AEW money. So why are you doing it? Like, WWE is not going to hire you for doing that. They're not. They'll hire you based on a lot of different other things, but they're not going to, hire you because you lit someone on fire. That actually might be a reason why they don't hire you, because that content is always going to be there.
Well, yeah, I mean, Taylor, that's important because here's what I don't think people realize. When that stuff is out there on social media, me and Jeff were talking about this a couple of days ago. Number one, no, you're not. The WWE is not going to see you getting set on fire and hire you. They're not going to see you throw somebody off a balcony and hire you. So here's the bottom line. So now you're not going to be able to get a job in wrestling. You're going to have to get a real job. And guess what, Taylor? Part of the process in hiring people today is they look at your social media accounts to see what kind of a human being you are. And you want this stuff on your social media account for the rest. Who is going to hire you when they see stuff like this? I mean, my God, are we really talking about, Taylor, for a "this is awesome" chant in front of 50 people? Is that why we're doing this?
But that's what's cool, Vince. Like, they don't understand. Like, there's that song, I want to be in with the in crowd. I want to go where the in crowd goes. And they don't understand how toxic that actually is. If you have to make yourself feel small in order to fit in with these pretend large people, you're a bomb in a bird cage, expecting it not to go off. That's not a circle, it's a cage. And just because a bunch of people are doing something doesn't mean you should. And they're not thinking, they're not being taught the bigger picture. They're thinking short-term success, but this is a long-term game. All right. And they're not thinking that way. It's like these girls on OnlyFans. They're not going to be able to get jobs in a couple of years. And guess what? After somebody subscribes to your content long enough, they're going to decide, okay, I've seen all there is to see. I'm going to go on to the next younger girl, hotter girl, this, that, and the other. It's not sustainable long term. And then all that content's out there and they post it in other places. So you don't got to be a subscriber to that OnlyFans account. And then guess what? Even if you tell a job that's trying to hire you that you don't have social media, they're still going to look anyway. And then that's the stuff they're going to find. Just like on here, they're going to find you throwing somebody off a balcony face first, so their face hits the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, with a metal frame and wood and almost no padding, with gaps and bungee cords and everything else. This is the stuff that's always going to be there, and it's such a short-term pop that has long-term consequences. Like, okay, here's the thing, Vince. I actually love both of the girls involved in this spot. I really love the UK wrestling scene. I think there are so many talented performers across Europe that deserve. They have earned, not just they don't just deserve it. They've earned the opportunity to really show the world what they can do, and I think that they're better than just NXT UK, in my opinion. And I actually love both of these girls. It's Molly Spartan and Rio. I would love to see Rio as a tag team with Big Swole. Like, I think that they could just take over the tag team scene. I'm a huge fan of tag team wrestling. But anyway, Molly, Rio, why on earth? I understand this was for Fight Plus, for ICW. ICW is like a huge deal out there. Like, I get it. It's a huge opportunity. But ladies, you were lucky that nobody got hurt from this spot this time. Like, is it really worth your life? Like, you guys have so much innate talent. You shouldn't have to resort to these sort of shock value spots. Because even if they, like, here's the best case scenario was nobody got hurt, and they didn't. I'm so mind blown. That girl got pushed off of a huge ass balcony to do a big giant face bump on the ring apron and get to the floor. Like, even Jeff Hardy would have been a little like, am I getting some pay-per-view money for this? Oh, okay, cool. You know, but they're not getting that. Okay. They're not getting that WWE paycheck. They're not getting that AEW paycheck. They're getting, you know, whatever indie paycheck they're getting. They were able to walk away without serious injury or death, which is awesome. I'm so thankful for that. But here's the thing, just because you walked away without injury today does not mean that you were not going to feel the effects of that compound interest of all of that damage X amount of years from now, because you will. A lot of these wrestlers today will end up in wheelchairs. They're going to end up with dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, brain death, subdural hematomas, brain aneurysms that burst because they didn't even know they were there. Like, this is the sad reality. And a lot of it isn't actually even about the wrestling. It's about the crazy spots. And I remember I felt such immense pressure to update my style and to be more risque with my wrestling style. And I felt like the more I did that, the less of a payoff there was and the more damage to my body that there was. Like, I went so many years without any injuries, right? And then all of a sudden I had 2 dislocating shoulders that pop out both ways. I have a floating kneecap that literally goes behind my leg at certain times, and my whole leg gets stuck until it gets back in. I have 3 herniated discs in my neck, 8 concussions, you know, torn this, whatever, you know, and I was not the riskiest wrestler. So it's like, I can't imagine what all of these deathmatch people, the body is going to be, all these death-defying spots, and the flames going through the table that's on top of 2 ladders with thumbtacks and barbed wire. Like, I mean, people have already died in the ring, but I think this is going to escalate into that being a more common occurrence. And that's really, really sad. And I don't think that they deserve that, but that's how they're positioning themselves. Do you think, or do you disagree?
Here's the one thing that drives me crazy. This drives me crazy more than anything. And this is indie crowd, and this is definitely the AEW crowd, bro, the AEW audience. These people chanting, "That was awesome, you deserve it, holy shit." These people chanting that stuff, They don't give a crap about your well-being. They could care less about you, bro. If you break your neck on one of these spots, you will be forgotten after a week, and the
Mhm.
next person will be right. They don't care about you, bro. They want you to be like these lab rats doing all these ridiculous things to see if you come out of it okay. They don't give a shit about you. That's what drives me absolutely crazy. They're playing for the "this is awesome" chant. Those people could care less if you're not going to be able to walk at 40. They could care less. And that's the part of it that drives me freaking crazy, man. Why are you doing this? And as you said, Taylor, are we going to remember this next week? And what kind of a long-term bearing is this going to have on your health that it's going to be forgotten the next day? It's ridiculous, man. It's such an ignorant mindset.
I almost feel like they're wrestling for the wrestlers instead of for the people that actually paid their hard-earned money to go sit in those seats or to watch the pay-per-view. I feel like sometimes they do these spots to pop the other wrestlers to get the
That's
bro
what
point.
Al Snow says that every week, Taylor.
Yeah.
Every week. That's what Al
Yeah,
says.
and that's why I think there's like more marks in the back than there are in the seats, because it's like those fans didn't necessarily pay to see you do that. Like there was a reason why you did that. Like if I do a no DQ match, there's a reason why I did that no DQ match. Like I made sure that it had a rhyme and a reason. The only time I was ever in a match like that where there was no rhyme and no reason is because I didn't even know that was the type of match I was in that day. And I was green as grass and I got paid like $15. Like at the beginning of my career, I ended up being put in a cage match for no reason. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like what? Like, but other than that, there was always a reason. And I feel like we're losing the art of it. Like they're not understanding the compound interest that is going to build up in such a negative way over time. And then I see people shitting on Christopher Nowitzki, who's dedicated his education, his wrestling experience, and his career to understanding the brain and concussions and CTE and you know like diminishing brain capacity that affects, you know, all kinds of athletes, be it boxing, wrestling, the NFL, or, you know, what have you. And it's just very, very interesting how they would rather ostracize him than understand the issue, the bigger issue that he's actually trying to solve. It's very, very interesting to me. And I think that, for example, Vince, there's this book on Amazon, how pro athletes don't go broke, Smart Money. It talks about how there's an NFL player who was in a Super Bowl, right? His career ends without his say so. Like a team just decides that they're done with him after he helps them win a freaking Super Bowl. Okay. Now he has to drastically change his lifestyle. There was no fallback plan because he felt like he still had several years left in the NFL. And this is kind of the living nightmare of all pro athletes, because the end of your career isn't always your choice or your timing, right? And so now he has to try to get a shoot job. He has to try to get a real job. And so he goes to Best Buy of all places. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Best Buy, it was GameStop. He goes to GameStop to apply for a job. And they won't even give him a job because he has no experience, even though he's on one of the DVDs, like football DVD games that they sell at GameStop. Like, can you imagine the mind screw? And that's an NFL Super Bowl player, okay? If you are an independent wrestler, you are not an NFL Super Bowl player. Okay, there's a difference. There's a very big difference. Check the ratings if you don't believe me. And at that time, he couldn't get a job at GameStop. What do you think is going to happen to you? Especially, you know, going off of balconies face first onto a ring apron. Like I am so thankful those girls weren't hurt. I'm telling you, I am so thankful, because they deserve. And anyways, I digress.
Do you know Jeff Lane had an OnlyFans account? Yeah, but when his mother asked for her money back, he felt it wasn't worth the headache anymore. So, all right, listen, Taylor, are we going to talk about Meth Gator?
Yes, we are. I was going to bring that up earlier. Guys, so last week we talked about Cocaine Bear and how in this crazy world that 2023 is, this was not on our bingo card. All right, but Cocaine Bear is actually doing pretty well for itself and its campy, gruesome, 35 million dollar budget. They've almost made back everything they've spent. And because it's been such a success, the guys behind the studio behind Sharknado called The Asylum, they decided to get in on this trend. And so they're making a film called Attack of the Meth Gator. Who had that on their bingo card for this year? Not me, not I.
I wonder if anybody here in the chat room has seen Cocaine Bear, let me know, because I mean, is it gruesome and gory, or is it funny, or is it both?
They said it's kind of both. It kind of makes fun of itself, its genre in an ironic way, but it doesn't actually fit into either one. So you have like a 1980s campy vibe, but then you also have a lot of gory, gruesome kills. So it's kind of horror niche, campy-esque. That's the vibe I get from it.
Yeah. There was a campy, I remember seeing it when I was a teenager. There was a campy, that's probably what they ripped off. There was a campy movie out when I was about 16, man. So this is the late 70s, early 80s, called Grizzly. And it was about a bear that was killing people. So this is probably a little piece of that.
Well, yeah, because apparently...
Is that only in theaters now, Taylor? Is that the only place you could see Cocaine Bear?
Right now, yes. I don't know if it's going to be streaming at some point. I'm sure somebody will be able to put that on a streaming. So Cocaine Bear was actually based loosely on a true story from the 80s, hence its 80s kind of motif and vibe. And so I did some digging about what they want to do for Attack of the Meth Gator. Why does that sound like straight out of like something from like a Louisiana bayou or like Florida?
Yeah.
And so I started wondering to myself, and apparently I was not wrong. A lot of people actually thought this was a joke, like one of those spoof Onion announcements, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah, no.
So did I. I thought so too. Well, we were wrong because so many people thought, just like we did, Vince, that they thought it was a joke, that the asylum themselves actually addressed people thinking it was a joke. On February 24th, they announced the film. And then because so many people didn't believe it, they tweeted this out. This is real. We're pumping. I can't believe they got away with saying this on social media, but here it is. They said, this is real. We're pumping the meth into the Florida's fresh water reserves as we speak. Like, oh, like, how did they get away with saying that? But they did. So this is going to be a legit thing. I think they're filming it this year. It said that it's going to come attack us summer of this year, but I really don't see how they could make such a fast turnaround. They're the same people from the same studio that gave you Sharknado, and they're going to loosely base it on apparently a 2019, so not that long ago, a 2019 public service announcement from Tennessee, where the Tennessee police told people not to flush meth down the toilet. And so that's where they got the idea.
That's a great idea, man. That's great. Yeah, that's perfect. That works for me.
Just as people recovered from Jaws, that took several decades for people to want to sit down to pee again. Now they're not going to.
That is funny. All right, is that the list? I think that's the list, right?
Yeah, we did it. We did Shazam, we did Ant-Man, Cocaine Bear, Attack of the Meth Gator, U.S. Presidents in Space, the ICW Fight Club on Fight Plus with Molly Spartan and Rio. We got Lord of the Rings. We've got, police sending criminals NFL tickets, and we got Sonya Deville fighting firearm charges. So yeah, that's a crazy episode, guys.
Yeah, that's a lot of info. Are you ready for your big surprise?
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm nervous. Okay, let's do this.
I am very excited about this. This is live.
Oh boy. No, you didn't. Oh my gosh, is it gross? Is it gross?
I have not tried it yet. It's been killing me, Taylor. This has been sitting in my refrigerator because I'm like, I gotta do this live on the show. It's been
Do
killing
it.
me.
Guys, in case you don't know, that's Peeps Pepsi.
All right, here we go. I hope I don't spit take all over my computer.
Oh, don't
Now,
do that.
I said I think this is going to be so sweet. So here we go. Here we go. I'll let you hear the snap.
Right.
So
you
see, I'm opening it here. Listen. See, you heard the gimmick.
All right, we got that carbonation, that sizzle. Here we go.
Here we go. Here's
Sugar high in
I gotta smell it first.
2. That's probably the worst thing you could do. You should never smell something. Just go right in.
Well, I got to tell you, it smells like regular Coke. I would think it's regular Coke. Okay. There's no peep smell to it. It smells like regular Coke. Man, I hope I don't spit my computer. Here we go. Now, when I take it, should I shush it around? What should I, or just swallow it right away? Shush it around?
You know what? Be overly pretentious and like swivel it around like you're a wine team.
Like a wine gimmick? Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go, man. Here we go.
Oh no. Bless his heart. Uh-oh. Oh, we're going back for seconds. It must be good. For those of you that don't know, we talked about Pepsi Peeps, I think, either last episode or the episode before. So this is definitely a callback. Oh, my goodness.
I will tell you this. It tastes very, very much like vanilla Coke. That's what it tastes like. But once you swallow, there is an aftertaste that's peepish. You can taste,
okay.
You can taste the peep, the aftertaste. Once you swallow, when it's in your mouth, it tastes very, very much like vanilla Coke. You like vanilla Coke?
No, I don't really drink soda. The only soda I'll drink occasionally is ginger ale. Other than that, I don't drink soda.
I can definitely taste the peep vibe. It's not as sweet as I thought it was.
All right. Okay. So is that something you would recommend or buy again?
I'll put it to you this way. I'll finish drinking this whole bottle.
Well, there we go. All right, there you have it, guys. It is not a sugar coma from Peeps Pepsi.
No, it's not bad, guys. It's really not bad. And on the aftertaste, you definitely taste the Peeps. Very nice. All right, Taylor, tell them about the Taeler Hendrix brand. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Tell them everything that's going on.
Thank you, Vince. I cannot believe you bought that. Oh, power to you. I
was so excited because I wanted something to drink at the store. And you know they got the refrigerators with all the soda. I saw the yellow label and I'm like, wait a minute. And sure enough, that's what it was. Yes.
That is awesome. I love cranberry ginger ale. That is my jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really tasting the Peeps now. Really.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of a back end deal.
Yeah, it really is, man. But go ahead. Tell me about the books, the shows, the podcast, everything.
All right, everybody. I have a little something going on almost every single day of the week. And best part is it really doesn't cost you anything, honestly. I love that. So Monday through Sunday, or I should say Sunday through Saturday, you get content weekly on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TaelerHendrix. We got really great stuff. Motivation Monday, lessons from a nursing home. I was today years old, fun fact Fridays, and so much more, including one of the top videos on my YouTube channel, Q&A Wednesdays, where I answer questions from you, the fans. Every Tuesday, you have my podcast on russosbrand.com with Channel Attitude called Talks with Taeler Hendrix. And of course, this podcast, The Brand Live with Vincent Taylor, every single Friday, 1 p.m. EST. And you guys can find my blog on Medium. It costs you nothing. And every time you read something I write, I get paid. So it's really, really cool. You can find all 4 of my children's books on Amazon.com/ebooks. I have 4 children's books. Do not be afraid if you do not have kids. I wrote these books in a way that could relate to both children and adults because they're all life lessons that I myself specifically learned as an adult. and I wanted these fantastical books to make you forget about your life for a while and teach you and teach children some positive life lessons that come out of overcoming adversity and challenges and negativity, and about trying to follow your dreams even when people say, you know, it's impossible, and you find the I'm possible in your dreams. And then you can also find me on Cameo, cameo.com/Taeler Hendrix. Every video that you order, it's $10. I guarantee you a minimum of 2 minutes, each video minimum. And every video I donate to charity with the ASPCA, St. Jude's Hospital, the Wounded Warriors Project, and so much more. And then last but not least, Lucha Patron. The next wrestling show is Lucha Patron on March 25th in Santa Rosa, California. You can find tickets at luchapatron.com/tickets. And that is pretty much everything going on with me, Vince.
That is awesome. And yeah, guys, you know, with me, you can see it right there. Russo'sBrand.com, Patreon.com/RussoTWC. And I just want to throw this out there, man. Any baseball lovers out there like me, any fantasy baseball players, I got a new Patreon, man. Patreon.com/VRFBB. And you can play against me in fantasy baseball this year. Check it out, man. Have a great weekend. Throw down a peeps. And Taylor and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye.